What is going on, y'all? What is going on? We got episode 2 of the Big Blue Topic with Giant Opinion Sports, the Big Blue Corner, and your boy Hit Squad Productions. How y'all feeling, man? What is good, y'all?
What's going on there, man? Hey, squad. What's going on, Chris? Hey,
Yeah,
man.
I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. How you feeling, Rodney? What's good with you?
Man. Every day, what I'm saying, it's a breath of fresh air to be able to see another day. So, just excited to get into these topics, talk about the Giants, and hopefully get a little bit of get some rants out that I've been meaning to get out for a minute now, but I wasn't able to. So now I got the platform to do it.
Hey, we're gonna get into that. I can't wait to hear what you got to say. Charlie, how you living, man? What's on your mind?
I'm ready for football. That's it. Simple to the point.
Hey man, you and me both, man. Let's jump right into this. I thank you everyone in the chat. I see we got G Mac Warrior here, we got Jaden, we got the champ, Jaden, we got Super Taj, we got Joel, the man, the myth, the legend himself. We got Adam in the chat, the GOAT. What is going on, y'all boys? Let's get into this. I know we're gonna start off with the first topic. Giant Opinion gonna present that to y'all, and we gonna speak on it. Give you the floor, Ron.
Okay, so we've all kind of had this plan all along with Patrick Graham that we were going to go edge offensive line, but how exactly does this Wink hire change things? With the kind of defense he uses, it's more reliant on cornerbacks. Does that change one of them first two picks from maybe edge or line to a cornerback?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that's a really good question, especially since I know it's been brought to my attention that the Buffalo Bills and the Ravens really prioritize their secondary. Um, and honestly, I wouldn't have an issue with it. Um, I'm not going to say I feel comfortable going Stingley at 5 or 7. We could definitely talk about that a little bit. But I definitely see where you're coming from, and it really does make you think. It really, I mean, it kind of throws a a curveball at Giants fans.
Well, Kayvon and Hutchinson probably going to be gone, right? So if you don't feel comfortable with Stingley at 5 or 7, would you want to reach on somebody like Ojaba or Karlaftis a little bit, or would you rather grab one of them cornerbacks that slide in, kind of project right in that 7 area? It is a question.
I mean, for me, okay, let me put it to you like this. I don't think we should reach as far as getting a safety or even a cornerback. Quite frankly, we all know how Wink Martindale likes, to run his schemes as far as heavy blitzing. He does a lot of blitzing with the cornerbacks. He plays a lot of cover zero. Who's to say that when he comes in here and he sees exactly who he has as far as players, he may not change up that scheme entirely with him, talking with Brian Dable. Who knows what's going to happen? But if he keeps that same scheme that he's going to bring over from Baltimore to New York, it's in all likelihood it is possible that he could go after. He would want to have a cornerback in the draft, but exactly how high, I don't know. It seems to me that we got a lot more pressing needs than filling out this defense because the defense isn't the issue. The offensive line is the issue. I'm not saying that we should reach on anything, but I just think that it's pretty much a wait and see at this point. It's pretty much a wait and see. Exactly. We can speculate all we want as far as where do we think they should go or shouldn't go, but when it all boils down, when these guys get together and they start talking, they're gonna pretty much let us know whenever time is coming around. Hopefully, no leaks come out, but we're gonna really see what direction this team is gonna go, offense and defensive wise.
100%, man. And honestly, I like it. And I don't mind the idea of going corner either. Like I said, maybe not at 5 or 7, but you got to think that with how Wink runs his defense, they're going to prioritize that secondary, whether that's in free agency, whether that's in the draft. He tends to play more man, I've noticed, with his corners, which honestly kind of that works with what we have, I feel, because Dory Jackson is a cover corner. excuse me, a man corner. I apologize. I mean, we selected Aaron Robinson, who played primarily man in the slot. Another one would also be Rodarius Williams. Rodarius Williams was more of a man guy. We all know that when Patrick Graham, in his second year with us, we tried going back to that man defense. It didn't work because we didn't have a pass rush, but we tried. Now, I've definitely seen some Giants fans talking about possibly restructuring Bradbury's contract because he is a man corn first. I don't see that happening. I don't know about y'all, but we know that at this point Joe Shane doesn't want to kick the can down any farther than it's already been. And like I said, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I think we got some pieces we could work with.
Yeah, I don't see there's any way we keep with supposedly them clearing up $40 million. I just don't see how there's any way Bradbury, even if he restructures, I just don't see any way where he survives this. And you are right. I mean, we already got two cornerbacks that fit his scheme, but with Bradbury gone, now all we got is Robinson. I'm not sure I trust him to play on the outside. He's more of an inside guy, press guy. I'm not sure if I trust him on the outside. With Bradbury gone, I mean, that's a big piece to a defense. We know what it's like not to have CB2 here. We've seen it in the past. It is an issue when you don't have a CB2. It's a real big issue in Wink's defense when you don't have a CB1. That it literally don't function without Marlon Humphreys and cornerbacks of that caliber. So I don't see overall. We may have to take a step backwards if we don't go corner early or pick up something decent. This defense might take a big step backwards from what we thinking it could be. Because I've seen huge expectations from some people going, "Oh, this defense could be so much better. We don't have the middle linebackers with speed the way he wants them. We don't have the man cornerbacks the one man cornerback that he needs to put on an island." Yeah, we might have to wait a couple years for this to get sorted out. And I'll tell you what, though, this is pretty brave of Joe Schoen to go out on a limb and bring in a guy that doesn't fit the roster, in my opinion. I see some people who says they do, to the point to where he's gonna have to flip a whole bunch of pieces in here. But maybe in the grand scheme, Blake's gone, Bradbury's gone, and Schoen says, "All right, they're gone. Now I got two pieces to fill, so he can start running his system." Maybe there's a little tell in this hiring on Wink.
Well, here's my take on that. Do I think Bradbury stays as far as this defense is concerned? I think he's part of that $40 million cut. To be perfectly honest with you, I think he's part of that. Blake Martinez, unless you're going to go and draft another linebacker in the draft, you have to probably bring back Martinez. If you can restructure him to where that contract is more cost effective, go for it. But you getting rid of the best linebacker that we have, hands down, for Tay Crowder taking over that spot, which quite frankly he's not equipped to take over that spot. He's shown that, in his play. He has shown that that spot is literally not made for him. He's more of one of those accompanying pieces that you bring out there and he's assisting, whether it's in the run. I don't really think he can do the run as best as, perfect, because he wasn't. Not this year. So the question is, do you get rid of Martinez and bring in and draft a linebacker? How fast is that linebacker going to get up to speed as far as this new scheme?
Depends on who you get. If you get somebody like Chris Muma in the third or something, I think he'd slide in nicely. Or you're going to have like $25 million in cap. Maybe you just bring in somebody who more fits Wing's scheme, a faster middle linebacker, like middle of the road. You know what I mean? Like contract wise, something like that. Just kind of like what we're talking about, Daniel Jones, just a hangover till you get the right prospect in here.
I agree with you 100%. And one thing that Wink really relies on in his defense is a stud middle linebacker. And honestly, I'm gonna highlight this too. I mean, Joe. I mean, I was there, man. I mean, and I don't see that. Honestly, like I said, I wouldn't go corner at 5 or 7, but I wouldn't be shocked. I really wouldn't be shocked. Now, I mean, me personally, I think that they may approach linebacker first before they look at corners, because if a person like excuse me, if a player like Martinez is gone, we don't know if they're going to bring back Jalen Smith. We don't know if Tay Crowder is going to stay here. We don't have a dominant middle linebacker. So who's to say, if they trade back from 7, maybe they go to 10, maybe 13, a player like Nakobe Dean or Devin Lloyd isn't there, if they don't feel like reaching for a Jabo, who I personally like. But I could see it in the second round. I really could, because right now I think that it's a pressing need. And for the defense that Wink likes to run, we need that middle linebacker in the field. And if you even bring back Martinez, I'm in favor or getting of getting one of these linebackers in the draft and placing him either at middle linebacker, and then you have Martinez, and then you can also have Tate Crowder in there, or even if Martinez isn't there, you getting your guy in a trade back or in the second round, and hopefully he could be a staple piece. But before I bring it to Rod, I agree with you 100%. Giant opinion. It's gonna take some time. It's going to take him some time, and we got to hope that he could turn this around.
Well,
Devin Lloyd may
you,
be, hold on one second, buddy. Devin Lloyd may be the best fit for Wink's defense. Wink wants somebody
Absolutely.
to blitz that B gap as a middle linebacker, and he wants somebody to pop out in coverage. I think Devin Lloyd in that 7 to 10 area probably fits Wink's scheme better than any other linebacker in this class. That's all I got to say about that.
well, I was going to pick you. Actually, I was going to say something similar to that. The question is again, is he going to run the same scheme that he ran in Baltimore? Because he had a stud linebacker, as we can all agree on that. Patrick Queen is a stud at linebacker. Could Blake Martinez be that? Could he, mold him into that? Who knows? If we end up getting rid of Blake Martinez, that's going to be a very big hole to fill as far as, replacing him and putting in a stud linebacker in that position, because you cannot rely 100% on Tay Crowder. I would definitely bring back Jalen Smith.
Oh,
At
I'm there
least for
with you,
I would
100%.
bring him back.
Yeah, he
If you're
fits
not
Wink's
gonna,
scheme.
yeah,
Hmm.
if you're not gonna bring back Blake Martinez, the least you could do is bring back Jalen Smith. And if you're gonna go ahead and draft a linebacker, I mean, I can run them down the list. You got Nakobe Dean, you got Devin Lloyd, you got Christian Harris out of Alabama, Chad Moma, and there's a couple other guys that's pretty much right behind there. Uh, what's the other kid from Georgia? Quay Walker. You got a
Oh,
lot of guys
man.
there, that you can pick up. The problem is once those linebackers start going off the board, and those first two, and is in the first round at least, Devin Lloyd and you got Nakobe Dean. Once the third one goes off the board, they're going to start falling off. And if we don't have the draft picks to pick them up, guess what? We might be left with, you know, pretty much whoever is there. I'm all
Yeah,
for right now trade. Let's see if we can't find a partner to trade back with. Get an additional second round pick, because that's what I want. I want another second round pick. We can probably get a first year, but if we can get another second, maybe another third, who knows? That opens up what the Giants can do as far as drafting. So it doesn't matter who you let go. The fact is, you're able to address those needs where you see fit, wherever in the draft.
absolutely, man. And that's what makes this draft so exciting, because we could go about this in a variety of different ways. And for me personally, man, I mean, and I agree with Adam 100%. I'm gonna highlight this. For me, the pick at number 7 to me is the most important. I would love to trade back. I really loved trading back last year and getting a first round pick personally. But if you tell me we could get a second, and if that's the best we can get, which hopefully it's not, hopefully we could get a first. But if we could get a second, man, I mean, you're talking about some premier talent that could fall into the second round. Look at Xavier McKinney. Look at a player like I mean, I know he gets bashed a lot, and I bash him a lot too. But you look at Trayvon Diggs. He fell to the second round for Dallas. So it's like you can find your players that you need, whether it's in the second round or later. But I just think that the second round, personally, either the second or the third, and it being the first third round pick, it's going to go to a linebacker. I just, especially if they pick up, Linderbaum in a trade back, or if they pick up, a Kwanu with that fifth pick. I definitely see one of the first 5 picks, if not one of the first 4 picks, being a linebacker.
Well, here's what you got to ask yourself though. You move back, you're giving up on a prime top 10 prospect at that point. I mean,
Yeah.
don't think this fan base won't look back on that and use that against the GM in the future. Like, hey, we passed on Derek Stingley. He's a top 5 corner in the NFL. What'd we get? you know. So yeah, I just think I saw Shane. I saw him say like he's good. Maybe it's just a bluff, but he said he likes the amount of picks he's got. He said he will move up or down, but he likes how many he's got. I really do, for some reason, just think they're not going to trade back. Maybe that's the best thing. I'd like that too. I think a lot of fan base don't want to hear that right now. They don't want to trade back. They look at all them guys at the top and they want one of them top guys. That's the way they look at it, I think. But yeah, ultimately, I'd want to move back.
But that's the problem right there in and of itself there, Chris. First of all, one, if you are, let's put it to you like this. I want these quarterbacks to get hyped up. Okay. I want them to, because you would have definitely where we are 5 and 7 prime spots to where any team who is literally biting at the bit to get one of these quarterbacks who really aren't even, I mean, there's only one person I can honestly say who is probably a first round pick, and that's Kenny Pickett. So as far as I'm concerned, if we hype up, these quarterbacks get hyped up to the point where you're going to have teams scrambling to get into the first, either trade up to try to get one of them before any of these QB needy teams get them, like really, truly QB needy teams. We're in a prime spot for that trade back. I'm taking that trade back as long as it's profitable, as long as it's giving me the picks that I need, whether it's for this year, next year, or both. I'm taking that trade back. If Devin Lloyd is there and I get a phone call from a QB needed team and they're asking me to drop back from 5 to maybe 12, 13, 14 range, I'm taking that. I'm taking it hands down, because they're going to have to give up a lot just to get from where they're all 12, 13, 14, wherever, up to that number 5 spot. I'm taking that trade back. I can still probably get my guy at 7, but I'm taking that trade back all day, every day.
Yeah, for me, it's like I don't mind trading 5, but this is just how I'm thinking. If Evan Neal goes 1, which I think we can definitely see that happening, unless a player, God willing, like Thibodeau is there or Iquanu, I can't trade 5.
Yeah, I want a tackle. Take the tackle.
Yeah, 7, I have no issues with. Now, I left this highlighted because I have seen rumors of the Panthers wanting Kenny Pickett. So if that's the case, and there's QB needing teams, I mean, I've seen Pittsburgh looking at Kenny Pickett, but I think they may go the veteran route. But I mean, one of these QB needy teams are going to be hungry to come up. It happens every year. I mean, I don't think a lot of people expected San Francisco to trade up all the way to 3 to select Trey Lance before it happened. There was rumblings, but nothing really concrete.
Well, I'll tell you what. Hold on a second. This draft is very top heavy. There is only maybe 9 or 10 really great, all pro caliber players in this draft. I think there is a scenario where you trade back and you make the wrong move. It's possible. I'd like it, but you want a pile of picks. Wait, like I'm not moving back 10 spots just to get a second and a 4th round or something. Like I want a first next year and a 3rd this year to do something like that, because I really do feel like middle of the 1st round all the way to the 4th round, these guys are really close together, lumped together, and that top 10 and them prospects really stick out to me. This is probably the riskiest year in the last 5 or 6 years to move back. So it's tricky. It's going to be interesting to see how Shane plays out.
I might have to disagree with you on that there, Chris. By me looking at, I mean, I've done about, 5 or 6, 7 mock drafts. And just for who they have as far as in that 1st round, now I've seen some to where they actually reached into the 2nd round to actually bring some of those guys up to the 1st, because maybe a bunch of edge rushers got taken off the board pretty much early within the first 10 picks.
Well, who's the all-pro guy you're getting at 15? The all-pro guy. at
Well,
16.
I'll put it to you like this: if you trade back from 5, if you all right, if Iquanu was there, you take him at 5, hands down, you take him. But if you get a call from someone at pick 7 and they're asking you, look, I'll give you first round next year, a second round this year, and a third round next year, whatever the case may be, whatever it is that they're going to sit there and give you, you're not dropping down into the 20s. You're not doing that. You can still get probably a good player in the 20s, but who's going to give up that much draft capital to come back up for a lot of these unproven quarterbacks? And
The
they're pretty
Bears.
much unproven.
I
Yeah,
mean, it's
you're
true.
right. The Bears. Look at the Bears. Yeah, of course. But in the sense, they're going to give up a lot. If you trade them back down into the 20s, they are giving up pretty much their
That's the
future
cost of
draft picks.
business. That's the cost of
Exactly.
business.
Exactly. So I'm looking at it like this: who's on there? They have to look at it like, okay, these are the guys that are on our draft board for this position, top 5, top whatever the case may be. If you get a phone call from somebody saying they want to jump up from 16, 17, 18, all the way up to where number 7, you know that they're going to have to give up a lot.
Yeah.
Are you going to sit by and say, you know what? Yeah, I got Devin Lloyd there, but I'm getting me 2 firsts, 2 seconds, 2 thirds in this year and next year's draft? That's a no-brainer. I don't think
Yeah, I'm taking that.
any GM in their right mind is going to turn that down, because you're not drafting for just this year. You're drafting for 2023 and beyond. And you have to look at it like that from that perspective. You have to. I get it. Linderbaum might be there. Lloyd, N'Kobe Dean, a lot of these guys, they could possibly be there. But I'm picking up that phone and I'm hearing what you got to say. And if you're giving me a good deal, I'm taking it, because I know I need that draft capital. I know I need it.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, for me, it definitely depends on who's there. Um, I prefer to more or less trade 7, because I think that even I've seen this happen, or I've seen people talking about this. I would look at a team like Washington. I know he's in the division, but I think last year
Yep.
with Philly trading with Dallas, I mean, we could kind of put that speculation of us trading within division away. Um, I think that you look at a team like Washington, what would they want, to trade up? Especially if Houston does what a lot of people think they may do and select Kayvon Thibodeau, which is it would hurt for me at least, but I'm okay with it. If they do that, you don't think there's gonna be teams calling up for Malik Willis? I wouldn't take him early, but that doesn't mean another team wouldn't. Especially a team that needs a QB. What about a team like Carolina? I mean, I know that they're right behind us, but they may get a little antsy thinking that who's calling the Giants for number 5 if this is our guy. Because at least for me, I remember last year, the talk was that Kyle Shanahan really liked Justin Fields. There was videos of them, working out, and he wanted to see his arm and everything, and then they selected Trey Lance. So who's to say that Malik Willis isn't their guy? And for me, man, for me to trade 5, I need 2 first rounders. I need the first rounder from this year, and I need one for next year. Maybe depending on where I'm going. If I'm going down towards the teens, once I hit 10, I need a first rounder. From 5 to 10, that's just me. I know that there's different metrics that go into, how trades happen and, and the values. But for me, man, it just really depends on who's there. But I just think that we need as much capital as we can get. We got some holes on this team, man.
If one of them top 3 tackles is sitting there at 5, I'm not trading. I don't care if you give me 10 first. I'm just taking it.
Yeah, I'm there with you.
The fan
I'm
base is going to
so there with
revolt
you.
if they do that. The fan base is going to lose it.
That's right. You're right. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no way. Like I said, like you said, if Evan Neal or Iquanu was there, and honestly, I would take Iquanu over Neal. But regardless of the fact that those guys are there, you decide to trade back, that's going to literally, people are going to be heading over to
Yeah.
MetLife with pitchforks and torches, because they're going to be like, why did you do that?
Yeah. I,
5, if
I,
the
I
guy
can't
is there, I'm
disagree there.
taking it.
It has to be like it literally it has to be for me. It has to be offensive tackle, or if you are going to trade back, you got to give me first 2 first rounders from 5. For 7, again, if I'm looking at a team like Washington, shit, I'll take your draft pick and I'll take Montez Sweat. I know you ain't gonna give me Chase Young, but
You know what I'm looking at?
who you looking at?
Minnesota, and Pittsburgh. I feel like they're the two teams that could very easily want to throw a bunch of picks up to move up for a quarterback.
Uh, I'm
I
gonna
can
have to
see
throw
that.
one in there too. Tampa Bay. Now they're a little further down.
Ooh.
They're a little further down because we have no idea what they're doing as far as quarterback. They got Kyle Trask, and I think they got another quarterback. I'm not sure what his name is, but that's another team that could be looking as far as a quarterback. That's why I say I hope that these quarterbacks get hyped up. That Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett, Carson Strong, Matt Corral. I want these guys to get hyped up because that just gives our picks more value and more of a possibility for someone to trade back.
Yeah,
The
I'm
only
there with you,
quarterback
man.
I could see getting took in the top 10 is Matt Corral. It's the only one I really see. Maybe Pickett at the very end around the 10. They're the only two I could really see going there. I just not buying the Malik Willis. You watch the tape, it's awful. He's a one read disaster of a quarterback. Like I don't think he's a quarterback. He's a running back with a rocket arm. He's Kadarius Tony. So I just don't think any
Nah,
team's
I
gonna go
mean,
for the bait.
I'll be honest with you, man. I would not be shocked if Pep Hamilton and Lovey Smith over there, don't see him as a nice prospect. I think that Pep Hamilton could do wonders with that kid. I'm not saying that he's going to be a franchise guy, but if you give him some time, let him learn. We've seen what Pep Hamilton's done with QBs. I mean, he made a third round quarterback last year look pretty solid, in my opinion, in Davis
Well, Mills
Mills.
is a solid quarterback. They already have a solid quarterbacks. If they were smart, they'd wait till next year because they're going to be a bad team again, and they can get one of the real good prospects, and they can get another building block this year if they're smart. Go get Kayvon Thibodeau, get Derek
And you're not
Stingley.
wrong. You're not wrong. That's if they were smart. But we're talking about the Texans here. So
Well, well, on top of that, I mean, look, Malik Willis is a project. Okay, he is literally a project. He's at least a 2-year project. I watched the film on him, not the highlights. I watched the film. Uh, Shout outs to Big Pat Sports Talk. He had a show he did, Giants Interaction, where he actually showed that. And I gotta honestly tell you, if you're having any doubts and if you're so high on Malik Willis as far as, you know, pick him at 5 or 7 or whatever the case may be, watch that so you can see exactly what you're getting. He is a project. That kid has to sit. There is no way that kid is going to come into the NFL and start right off the bat and produce. The kid's going to get killed.
Not unless you use
Okay?
him like Jalen Hurts or something like that. You're gonna have to use him in a gimmick kind of style offense. That's the only way I could see it.
Exactly.
yeah,
And that's hard to
Exactly.
develop. That's hard to develop out of an offense like that too. It really is.
absolutely.
You're right. I mean, Mark the Blue Giant, he if you can highlight that, he says Malik Willis will be the first QB off the board. I got to disagree with you there, buddy. There's no way that kid's going to be number one. You got Kenny Pickett there, and honestly, out of all the quarterbacks, and I'm not entirely up on Carson Strong as of yet. I got to watch some film on him, but as of right now, based off of the film that I've watched, Kenny Pickett is the only quarterback who is at least 80% ready to be a starter in the NFL. There is no way
I think
Malik
Matt
Willis
Corral
is
could.
starting.
I view
I
Matt
would,
Corral like a Daniel Jones, like right around where Daniel Jones went. I think that's right around where like Matt Corral is very close to Daniel Jones. I view them very similar. Like
I
watch, he's
agree.
gonna he's gonna pick up steam. Watch, Matt Corral might
yeah,
even be going in top 5. I guarantee it. That's my one like prediction I'm making for this year. Matt Corral will go top 5.
well, hey,
I
I
can
want
see it.
these quarterbacks to go up, man. I want them. Okay, I want them to. All right, just makes it much more better for the Giants.
I agree with you 100%, man. I mean, if we could get at least one of these QBs, all I'm asking for is one. If they could get one of these QBs hyped up, one of these teams are going to want to trade up. And whether that's with us or not, let's say they were to trade up with the team like Miami, or maybe Houston wants to collect some capital, trade with Houston. I mean, that makes room for, players like Iquanu, players for Thibodeau, to possibly fall. I definitely know that Thibodeau's probably the one that a lot of people may disagree will fall, but I love the guy so much, but I definitely see him falling. I don't see him falling past 5. If the Giants are smart, you run to that podium and
You
you
take him.
you don't even think about it.
Take
In
him.
my opinion, I mean, one of these, it's gonna happen. It sounds crazy every year. Someone gets hyped up, especially these QBs, and one or two teams are gonna try to trade up to select them, even if we all know this isn't the best QB class and they should wait till next year.
If somebody trades out of that top 5, I think it'd be the Jets. They could probably say, "Oh, we'll move back a little bit and we'll still get a good
I could see
corner."
that.
But that's the
I
only.
could definitely see that.
I think they're going to be the one to take Kayvon on us. They're going to steal him right before our pick, I think. But maybe they trade back and get somebody needs a quarterback bad enough.
I'll be honest with you. I actually have the Jets taking an offensive tackle. I mean, from what I see and from what I'm
They
hearing,
have Fant. They
yeah,
have Fant. He's really good. That would make no sense. Maybe they take Iquanu. I can see that, but I don't know about a tackle.
I think
Who we talking
the
about? The
reason why I'm
Jets?
saying a tackle is that it already came out that Mekhi Becton isn't guaranteed a spot on that roster next year.
That's true.
Robert Saleh said that his performance this year was underwhelming. I mean, you don't want to hear that
Dude,
from your coach.
he's going to come out and crush it. Becton's going to come out and be dominant.
I mean, I hope, man. I mean, I know a lot of people question that dude's weight, but
You know how New
I
York
wouldn't
fans
be
are. A
shocked.
guy misses a few weeks and they lose their mind. He's going to come out and be fine. He's going to crush it. Maybe they move him to the right side. The guy's an animal, man.
Oh, yeah, a beast, a beast. Now, I could also see if they don't go the Thibodeau route, they could go the Kyle Hamilton route. I could see that too. They definitely need some secondary help. I could see Stingley in that conversation as well. Now, for me personally, if you do trade back, like I said, it's got to make sense. I think that you could get a player like Linderbaum if you go to 10, maybe 12. I wouldn't mind trading back with Minnesota. You probably be able to get more capital, but I just don't know what they plan on doing with Kirk Cousins because it's not like he's a scrub, but I'm not entirely sure what they plan on doing.
So they're
I
not
agree with what
trading
you
him, that's for
said.
sure.
Don't just move back to move back. Have a plan if you move back.
Absolutely.
Well, you're right. Yeah, you're right. They have a plan, so you're able to pick up a number, a second round pick this year, maybe another third round pick, depending on where you fall back. You should already have a plan right in mind as far as, I mean, pretty much before that phone call even happens, if it does happen. If a team is calling up, willing to trade up, okay, if we trade back to these, 3 spots in between these 3 spots, who can we pick? And then, you know, make your decisions from that point on. But you should already have a game plan set up in the likelihood that someone does call asking for a trade back. I mean, for a trade up.
Yeah, I'm there with you, man. I mean, you got to look at every aspect right now because, in one hand, you want to collect as much capital as you can, but I'm not also trying to trade myself out of talent there either. Because I think that, again, even if you don't trade back, you will get two perennial players at 5 and 7 that could be franchise changing if you approach it right and draft correctly. It's just a matter of how we. I really think it comes down to how we approach a free agency to a degree. Because I don't think we're gonna go out there and make some big signings, but I definitely see us getting some guards or at least maybe two at most, and possibly a corner from somewhere else, maybe like a journeyman or a second year player that was a lower draft pick.
Maybe they throw some money at an edge rusher. They're going to have it up to at least make one big signing if they want. Remember, they
That's
could. We're
possible.
going to have huge money in 2 years. They can do what we did last year and take. We could sign two big people. We got the money for that. Sign them on this year's salary, and you could push one down the road if you want to, if that's what you want.
Well, the key is how much money are we going to have? We're going to be projected to have.
Supposedly
As of
40 million.
Yeah, supposedly 40. It could be higher, it could be lower. But out of that 40, you already know that anywhere between 12 to 15 is pretty much slated for draft picks.
That's right.
So,
But
Yeah.
listen, if Mara's serious about winning, he could tie up a shit ton of money and signing bonuses and all that stuff, and a lot of that don't have to necessarily hit the cap. You could make it more so it hits more heavy down the road. Just give them a monster signing bonus or something. Listen, if they want to make it work, they're going to make it work. If they want to play her bad enough and Mara's serious about winning this year, I think they could make it work. They'll find a way.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Like I said, it all depends on. I mean, if we do pretty good as far as free agency, as far as hey, look, if we can get because there's I think 3 or 4 old linemen that's going to be on available for free agency. If we can get 2 of those guys, and you don't have to sit there and make drastic picks as far as the O line is concerned in the draft. Granted, we all heard what Shane said. He wants to do. He doesn't want to do big free agent signings. He wants to build through the draft. That's very smart. That's the way you go. And I guess a
Well, I
lot of it
like
has
Shane
to do
Lemieux.
with. Yeah, I like
I think
Shane
people are
Lemieux too, but
I think people are sleeping on Shane Lemieux big time. I think he's going to be starting left guard to start next year.
I could see it. I could definitely see it. It's just for me, it depends on how he bounces back from this injury. Obviously, it wasn't as bad as Nick Gates, but I don't know. I like him as a player though. At worst, he's solid depth. Uh, but before we get into the next topic, I wanted to actually highlight this comment because I agree with this 100%. Yo, giant opinion. Anyone ever tell you sound like Optimus Prime?
Really? No, I never heard that before.
Yeah,
I
your
used to
ass
play
sound like Optimus
Xbox.
Prime.
I used to play Xbox with all these kids for years, and apparently one day, like they thought I was black for like 2 years or something. And I told them,
What?
no, I'm white. And then soon as I told them I'm white, they started getting all racist. I had to delete all my Xbox friends, dude.
Jesus, man. I'll tell you what, though, I would not mind you narrating a movie. I think that you would do it pretty well.
exactly.
Yeah, I get them comments on my videos. Like, you got a nice voice. You're easy to listen to or something weird. Like, dude,
I
you're a
mean, it's
guy. You're
true.
not supposed to
It's
say
true.
that stuff.
I'm not gonna say nothing, but it's true. Optimus,
Okay.
man. Um, but what I definitely want to do from here is since we spoke about draft prospects, we spoke about how we could approach the draft, especially with us hiring Wink. Um, what I do want to do in a little bit is I want to have some people call in because I definitely see that there's some people that want to call in and give their takes on what we're speaking on. Before we do that, was there a coach that we selected? I'm more of a wait and see kind of a guy. I know you guys are as well, but is there a coach that we hired that you guys liked personally?
For me, I think it's the Mike Kafka hiring.
Yep.
Ooh, okay.
I let me be perfectly honest. I wanted Pep Hamilton here just for the simple fact of the guy is a
Same.
very good coach, and just look at what he did with Andrew Luck when he was in the NFL before he retired, and also Justin Herbert. Also, what he just recently did with Davis Webb down in Houston. To me, the guy is like a quarterback whisperer for some odd reason because I mean, he has gotten those guys to play way better than anybody even gave them credit for coming in. So I wanted Pep Hamilton, but honestly, with picking up Kafka, having Brian Dable from Buffalo, you have the marriage of 2 great systems, and let's see how that's going to be beneficial for DJ and any other quarterback in this offense going down the road because I think they can get really, really creative with what they can do. I mean, it's hands down they're one of the two of the best offenses in the NFL, and their offensive schemes are I wouldn't necessarily say immaculate, but they're amazing. They're high powered offenses. So that marriage right there, I can't wait to see what they choose, what they start to dial up as far as offensive plays, the scheme, how they're going to utilize uh, Kadarius Toney, Galladay, whatever tight end we bring in, and Saquon Barkley, and especially DJ. I want to see whether or not this kid can actually progress and actually take that step forward in his career.
Yeah, I think the Kafka signing is more. Well, I'll say this. I think the Wink signing at this point, I have to say, is better because at least we know with Wink, we know what we're getting. I'm not a huge Wink guy. I do think he's like a quality defensive coordinator. I've always never been like huge on scheme coaches. I think that's what he is. He's not a big adapt guy. He's going to come in and run a scheme. He's not going to build a scheme around the players. He's going to run a scheme. You need to find him his players. So
Yep.
with Kafka, I feel like it's a complete mystery. we have no idea. So, and I think where it's an advantage, or at least maybe 3-4 games out of the year, is we're fans and we don't know what the hell's coming. How is the other team supposed to know what's coming?
It's true. It's true.
And I think Daboll's will come in here, make it. Him and Kafka will sit down and they will make an entire new scheme. I don't think it'll look like Buffalo. I think it'll look different because I view them as a different kind of coach than Wink. So I
Yeah.
think Dable did show his hands, though. He is not a defensive coach. He brought in Wink to run the defense, just like Pat Shermer. I think he showed his hand with that Wink hiring, though. So we know what. So it's really important as if Dable's successful here, he's always going to have a good defensive coordinator from here on out for him to sustain here. So yeah, I think Kafka's the more interesting signing.
No, I'm there with you, man. I mean, I'll be fair. I didn't know too much about Kafka. I know that he played in the league. He threw a couple picks against us his last start. But you see what he's done with Mahomes. Now, and granted, I know Mahomes was talented off the rip, but he needed a little bit of time to learn and grow through the years. And you've seen Mahomes' progression since then. I'm not expecting that with Daniel Jones, but I definitely like the Kafka hire. For me, my favorite was Wink Martindale. Um, man, you talk about. I mean, he didn't even get fired because of his play on the field. It was more or less due to money, from what I was reading. And you're telling me we're bringing a defensive coordinator that either has the number one defense or at least the top five defense. And I get so excited for players like Aziz Ojolari. I get excited for players like Xavier McKinney. I mean, those two players and even Aaron Robinson, if we keep him, I think that those are three players right there that can really flourish in his scheme. Again, like you said, John Opinion, it's going to take time because we need to get some more personnel in here. But I love the coaches that he's also bringing in. I highlighted this here because Drew Wilkins, I mean, look, man, I mean, continuity is huge, right? But then he's also bringing in possibly Rob Ryan. And Rob Ryan, I mean, you want to talk about a good linebacking coach? I mean, that's, in my honest opinion, he's one of the best in the league. And honestly, that's been one of our problems on the defensive side for God knows how long is our linebackers, up until Blake Martinez, in my opinion. But I think that right now, just looking at the Giants coaching staff from a month and a half ago until now, what a difference, man, for real. But I love this Wink signing, man. I mean, the more I think about it, I just want the draft to be tomorrow. I really want the draft to be tomorrow, man, because this guy is going to make this defense very good. It's going to take some time, but I'm telling you, get one more edge rusher, get you another safety and a linebacker. This defense will be for real. It was already for real, in my opinion, with Patrick Graham, but I'm so excited for Wink Martindale, man.
Oh
You know
yeah,
he
oh
runs
yeah.
Buddy Ryan's system, right?
I'm sorry, repeat that. You
A
cut out a
lot, a
little bit.
lot,
My bad.
a lot about what Wink does is the Buddy Ryan system. I think
Yeah,
that's
Yeah,
why he
that's right.
has Rob and all that. So yeah, there's a lot of the same principles.
yeah. No, I
Yeah.
agree.
He's a
Yep.
big overload guy. He's going to attack them B-gats. He's going to send his edge guys out wide and send his inside guys inside and open them B-gaps up to kill quarterbacks. That's what he's going to do.
Exactly, exactly. Hey, real quick, let me give a shout out to everybody that's in the chat.
Yes,
Thank you
sir.
guys for stopping by, checking us out, hearing what we have to say. Please, if you got anything to say, put it in the chats so we can try to answer it. And I think HITSQUAD dropped the link for anybody that wants to come on as well. But thank you guys for being in the chat.
Yeah, huge shout out, man. I mean, we had 11 people in, now we got 9, but still, man. I mean, it's been so much fun. I did drop the link. I'm gonna drop it again. We got 2 backstage. Now we got 1. Miz just left, but we're gonna let on my boy Adam, man. How you feeling, Adam? I definitely want to hear what you got to say, man, because I know you're gonna be coming with facts, bro. So I'm gonna give you and Miz the stage.
What's going on, Adam? What's going on, man?
Rodney, what's up, man?
What's
Hit
good,
this
What's
how you
man?
up?
doing?
What
Thanks
is
for
up,
having me
y'all?
on.
What's
And
good, Miz?
GOS, man, you do it right, man. You do it right. Them videos have got me. I use my notes and I cross-reference with you, and it's great stuff, man. Great stuff. So to have
Nice.
that going on is great. So I'll start with Wink Martindale real quick. I think that's a great hire. I think it's something that we need. in terms of I like Patrick Graham's defense, but here's my problem with Patrick Graham: no identity. Right? He had no identity on defense. He would just put his personnel out there, and if they're playing a team, he would change it up. Almost like basketball. You know, when you play defense, you kind of change up your scheme, who you're playing. I want a guy who comes in and already knows what he's looking for in a 3-4 defense, right? I know that sometimes is hard because look what James Bettcher did, but you know, I think Wayne Martindale has more experience and will be able to kind of change and adapt on the fly as long as you give him the right players. And I think a guy like Devin Lloyd, Nakobe Dean, these guys you're looking at because he likes Patrick Queen, right? He had Patrick Queen, Tyrus Bowser on that team. He also had Matthew Judon. So if Joe Shane is the guy that we think he is, and what I heard from him is that he likes to go up to his coaches and ask them what they like in the draft, saying, hey, what do you want me to go shopping for? And Wink Martindale puts a list on the table. I think we're going to get some good players here. Not to mention Brandon Brown. We haven't mentioned him, the assistant GM coming from Philadelphia. I like the way that this team is constructed right now because we got eyes that have never been in the Giants building before. I know that people don't like the Eagles hire.
Puko's in the house.
You know what I mean? But to me,
yeah, it is.
This is what it is, man. And for me, I'm excited. And I want to mention something else. Shane Lemieux, we forgot about him. You guys, I thank you for mentioning him because they were high on him last year, right? And that's why he started over Will Hernandez, who, by the way, is probably going to let the door hit him on the way out because, you know, we don't need him anymore. So you have Shane Lemieux, you have Andrew Thomas. Now, let's say you bring in a draft pick, right, or 2 draft picks, and then you free agency. We keep forgetting that free agency is before the draft. So we got to let the narrative go and let them build through free agency. So then when we go in the draft, we kind of have an idea. Now, for me, if Kenny Pickett's rising the board, if I'm the Giants, I'm saying, hey, yeah, we're going to be taking Kenny Pickett at 5. So if you want him, come talk to us. Because to me, this is what's going to happen. They're already building him up. He was number 18 on DJ's board after the Senior Bowl. He's going in the top 15. And you know what happens when you're in the top 15. At that point, they don't care. Remember, Daniel Jones was projected to go like number 17. That's when they wanted to pick him. But Daniel Jeremiah said on draft night, he's like, you always pick a quarterback 10 spots ahead of where you normally would pick him. So guess what? Number 6 is about 11 spots away from 17. So that's what you want. If you want your guy, you go up and get him. So, you know, let's let this play out. I'm excited for this season. I'm excited for the entire staff. And one more coaching hire that I hear is coming is Brian Cox. That dude is going to send a message to this team. He's going to make this team bring the pain, okay? Because I am tired of soft defenses. Wink Martindale, Rob Ryan, Brian Cox, they are going to make those boys hit. And you're going to see that on Sundays.
I knew I liked you, Adam. I knew I liked you for a reason.
Yeah, so I like that. Take.
Yeah, no, that was
I
great.
definitely like it. What about you, Miz? What you think?
Yeah. Well, for me, first of all, you know, I don't buy into any of the hype with these quarterbacks. Not one of these quarterbacks deserves to be picked in the top 10, and I'm being polite with that. I don't see a starting QB in this bunch in the NFL, not for a long time. And Malik Willis is another hyped up quarterback that I've heard people starting to talk about. God forbid we ever drafted that guy, man. I'd hit the floor. I'll tell you right now.
The thing is this, right? Nobody liked Daniel Jones coming out, okay? So, you know, Daniel Jones went from being a first-round pick to a fifth-round pick, depending on who you talk to on what day of the week, right? We all sat here, many people beating down the kid. Oh, he's no good. He's from Duke, blah, blah, blah. Not one person watched Duke film coming out. Okay, so my point is, let these guys play out. Let them pick. If you're the Carolina Panthers or you're a team like the Giants, not saying he's gonna pick them, so don't start jumping down my throat. But a guy like Malik Willis can sit behind the starter and learn and let him build the fundamentals. This is what the coaches do. He, to me, is like clay. You need to mold him into what you need to mold him in. He's got some talent. He definitely has arm talent. The ball jumps off his arm. That is undeniable. Now, if you want to work on his footwork, there's a ton of guys that have had poor footwork coming into the NFL and have been coached up. Josh Allen is one of them. Now, I'm not saying this guy's going to be Josh Allen, but you need to let the hype train go. And you need to let the Giants sniff around Malik Willis, sniff around Kenny Pickett, so that people on the phone panic and say, hey, we want this guy. Because you watch Kenny Pickett's film, he's the best guy in my eyes out of the quarterback so far. And the combine will put these guys up. You know, I know someone said Zach Wilson made one throw and that put him out there. No, what Zach Wilson did in that combine was allow the Jets to know, yes, we can pick him at 2 because he can do everything that we need. If you want to look at the combine performance, look at Dwayne Haskins. I watched Dwayne Haskins combine. I said, I ain't picking that guy for shit because I knew you're getting sweaty. That's sweaty at a combine. You ain't in shape, homie. I mean, this is a combine. It's not like they're putting you through making you run sprints from the 100-yard line and you need to finish under like 12 minutes. That guy came in overweight. So let's, before we, Giants, I don't think are picking a QB, but let's deceive the rest of the league so we can get a trade back that's worth our greatest weight and gold, right? Because like you said, I want Jermaine Johnson. Yeah. I love Jermaine Johnson.
Play the game, try to sell somebody on a trade. Of course, I'm sure there's someone that's going to be interested.
Definitely.
But we can't say these guys.
I'm just telling you personally, I'm not high on any of these quarterbacks at all. There's a lot of talent for us to have outside the quarterbacks right here. We could totally build a team here and get our QB in 23, I'm sure you agree with that. I know what you're saying. Make it like you want to get a quarterback so someone jumps up. I know what you're saying.
But the thing that I still think we need a quarterback at some point because I don't trust Drake Fromm or Davis Webb as a backup. And even if they bring in Mitchell Trubisky, that might be a 1-year deal. So let's get a guy that you can bring into the system and groom to be your backup quarterback. Because right now in the NFL, I hate to tell you this, fellas, backup quarterbacks come in position because a lot of these guys are running around. They're going to get jaw jacked when some hero defensive end is going to be like, you know what, I'm going to take his ass out because I need to make this team. And you're going to be like, oh, let me run this little RPO, bang. Oh, well, guess what? Now we have Mike Glennon coming in because we didn't invest in the backup quarterback position.
And that's something we got to do this year, man. I mean, I don't want to see no Mike Glennon back there. I don't even want to see Jake Fromm. I don't want to see him back there, man. I mean, I know we got Davis Webb. I think we still got Lewerke. I was reading earlier this morning
names
that Buffalo,
to come home to, boys.
They thought that boy was going to take over for Eli, be a successor. I wasn't one of them, but I remember that. But no, what I saw today that was very interesting is that, I've been saying that, Mitch Trubisky may make sense to bring in here, not just for scheme-wise, but to really push Daniel Jones. But I was reading today that Buffalo was actually looking to keep Mitchell Trubisky as Josh Allen's backup. I could definitely see that happening. I'm going to just put that out there.
Well, I want to.
That's not in the best interest of. That's not in the best interest of Trubisky. Because if he wants a chance to play, he get out of there.
Well, the thing that scares me is I think it was GOS said something about the TVs in Chicago being pulled off because he couldn't handle the criticism. So now you're going to bring him into New York where he wipes his hand with the wrong way, he's going to be criticized. So you know what I mean? Like I can't have this guy being cracking under pressure. Then all of a sudden he's a starting quarterback and he has to hide in the closet because he can't hear that NFL Network is cursing him off, right? So now you got a quarterback that can't play in Daniel Jones and a crybaby in Mr. Trubisky. What am I going to do? Now I might as well start, Jake Fromm at this point. You know what I mean?
We'll keep a couple mops in the closet. If he's in there, he can do some mopping. Come on.
Well, maybe he'll put the mop on his head and come out as a different person. Maybe he'll turn into Superman. I don't know. All I know is I'm hoping that has changed and he's grown because, that would be great. But if it hasn't, coming to New York where you get eaten alive for just walking funny, that's it, man. I mean, look at Daniel Jones. He got made fun of for walking up to the podium to get his jersey. Like, oh, look at this goofball. You know what I mean? Like,
I can't. Let me get you.
No, my thing, HITSQUAD is one thing. People are doing it again, man. I went through this the other night with these guys, Joe and everybody. People are doing it again. They're starting to fall off the tracks. Everybody's forgetting that the Giants better build an O-line. That shit has destroyed the Giants for almost a decade now, okay? And I think people are now starting to forget. They're starting to get all excited. Willis, Hamilton, you're starting to hear all this other.
Miz, I think it's because we have 2 picks. So we know, to me, I already think 5 is a lock for an O-lineman. It's now what we're doing at 7. So. It's not what we're doing at 7, minus a trade. If there's a big trade that comes in at 5 and someone's going to give you, a king's ransom to come up and take Pickett or something to steal him away from Carolina. Hell, it might be Carolina that trades with us because they don't want to lose their guy to somebody else, I mean, why wouldn't that happen? I could see that happening, giving us a couple of picks in this year's draft and maybe next year a first. I know
They
that
need to
that's
tackle as
probably
bad as us, Adam. They might be traded up to steal our tackle. I ain't trading
exactly,
Carolina.
exactly. So my point is that we need to stop worrying about the focus on what it is. The sexy picks are the ones that get notoriety, right? Jamar Chases of the world, Weddles, all these guys, the quarterback, the linemen are the big uglies. But to me, Shane will get fired on draft night by me at least if number 5 is not an offensive lineman. I will drive to Vegas and I will kick him in the nuts or MetLife Stadium, wherever
Or
the
a
draft
pass
room
rusher,
is.
Adam, or one of the elite pass rushers. That would be okay.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yep.
the need. But to me, like 7 is a wild card because to me they were building for Daniel Jones to fail this year, right? That's what the plan was before Joe Judge decided to have a meltdown against Chicago and got fired. So my point was they traded down knowing, hey, we got to evaluate Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones gets injured as normal. And then now they're like, oh, let's give him another chance. This guy has so many excuses in the book. I don't even know where to start. But hey, let's give him another chance and see what happens. But O-line will be first. What I'm looking forward to is Saquon Barkley. If we give him a good O-line and he actually runs, not like Barry Sanders, but a back that actually looks like he's 230 pounds, maybe we can get something out of it.
Yeah.
If you draft an edge at 5, you can't trade that 7 pick. You got to get either Cross or Equan with that 7.
Yeah.
If you draft an
agree.
edge at
Well,
5,
what about
you can't-
Linderbaum? I would just take the best lineman at that point.
Linderbaum, it depends. Are we gonna run any kind of wide zone? Is that what our thing is? And who the hell's our tackle?
Right.
Who's our right tackle that's gonna come in here and run a wide zone? And you're not gonna find any of them guys in the second round, I don't think. They're gonna be projects.
There's a lot of guys at the combine that were offensive linemen that are rising up the boards, and guys I don't want to look at. So I know what I'm hoping is I'm looking past the first 2 rounds because I want to make sure that we get depth somewhere. That second round pick is the 4th in the second round, right? So you're changing up because we're tied with other teams. So we'll get the 4th pick in the second round. Who's going to fall to us? What medicals are going to push somebody down at the combine, like an Azeez Ojulari or like one of the like the linebacker, I forget what his name was, I think for Alabama back in the day where they said he had a heart problem or something. These are the things that are going to happen. This is so intriguing with these prospects because we don't know. We sit here and do mock drafts, mock 7.0, 100.0, A through Z mock draft, and it never goes according to the way we look at it, right? Because we don't know who loves who, right? For all we know, we're sitting here saying, oh, Carolina's the obvious choice. Carolina's got to pick a quarterback. What about Atlanta? Atlanta's right behind them. What if they decide, what, we want Malik Willis here? Let's trade with the Giants and get our pick of quarterbacks and, steal Kenny Pickett or whatever. I'm just saying this is so intriguing for me. I'm sorry, I'm taking up all your airtime.
No, it's fine.
No, you're
Because
good.
one team will always not every year, but most years, one team and somewhere in the top will shock everybody and take someone no one was even thinking about.
Happens.
Like we did with Jones. So
I could see it being Devin Lloyd this year. Somebody grabbing him stupid early than what they should.
I love that kid,
Well,
man.
if we draft Devin Lloyd, it'll be the first linebacker we draft in the first round since 1984, Carl Banks. So let's break the trend and get one that's good. Like you guys said, Wink Martindale needs that piece. So to me, I'm looking at everything because when you have 2 picks in the first round, you could just look at everything because Kyle Hamilton works for me. Because they have Minka Fitzpatrick in that Ravens defense. Why not play him there? Then you have McKinney and Kyle Hamilton. You got your 2 safeties for the next 5 years playing with you, right? And we saw what the Legion of Boom did. A lot of teams are now building from the secondary down as opposed to the defensive line up.
That's what opens this draft up to me is we have an early second. This is a huge ass draft, like edge class. That early second is so vital. You can take a risk on a just BPA and one of them 5 or 7. Maybe they do go cornerback. You always have that early second to fall back on. You'll be able to grab a nice edge player right there. So I think that early second is what opens up our first 2 picks to us. We can go whichever direction they want.
Let me ask you guys a question. They traded in the second round down. Do you think they'll do that here and keep the first 2 picks? Because if you trade in the second round, you might acquire another 3rd and another 4th. And of course, we need more bites of the apple. That might be a prime position to trade.
I wouldn't be opposed to that. I really wouldn't.
If their guy doesn't drop that they think is going to be there, trade back. Why not? Move back a few spots. Take a look at your board again.
Didn't we drop 10 spots for Ojulari or something like that? And we're hoping to get him, and he happened to fall. So, yeah. I mean, I hope that happens again. I mean, this is exciting because, again, we don't have Dave Gettleman. Thank God he's in Cape Cod now. doing our drafts. I'm tired of looking at his pants halfway up his waist on the sidelines, and then him coming out and saying that he's better than everybody else. This guy, Joe Shane, every time I watch him and Brian Daboll together, because I wasn't, you guys know me, I wanted the Flores, but now after all this that's going on, I should have not have done that. But Brian Daboll, to me, with Joe Shane, they're walking lockstep. So this is good because we've never had that, right? It's coming out now that Judge and Gettleman didn't like each other. They were butting heads. They were intimidating. And you don't need that type of thing when you're trying to build a team. You can't be like, hey, Dave. And Dave's like, I know more than you.
Well, Gettleman wanted Parsons. Of course he was bugging out. He wasn't going to be able to draft this guy. Of course he was mad.
Listen, I mean,
I'd be mad too.
If you watch that footage,
it got him fired.
Right, if you watch that footage of the 20 pick, him and Judge are going at it. Judge is giving him this look, and Gettleman's giving him this death stare as he's stopping around the draft room. I'm like, yo, I get it. I want a Parsons too, man. I was licking my chops for that. And then we get Kadarius Toney, who we don't even know if he wants to even play here or just be a rapper. But hey, that's why Kafka is here, because I like him. I hope we see something interesting on offense. Don't have to be a snooze fest that I need to be waking up at halftime to let me know the game's still on, because our stagnant offense is not doing anything, So that's what I'm saying. This whole thing, and I'll say this, and people are going to hate me for saying this. Before we anoint ourselves playoff teams, let's be real. It takes about a month or two into the season to get yourself together as a team. So,
nah, bro, we're going 17-0. I know what you're talking about.
17-0. Hey, you heard
it first. I ain't even trying to hear this
optimism.
Shit.
I like your optimism. Hey, Hit Squad, highlight. There's two of them I want you to highlight. D-Mac Warrior and Ash's last one. Okay. Now, I promised myself I wasn't going to go off on a rant, even though I wanted to.
Rant.
I'm just gonna address this real quick. I do not want Malik Willis in any scenario where he's in the first round. Okay, I don't even want him in the second round. I really don't see the obsession with this kid. I really honestly don't. I just
who's that?
It's Malik Willis. It's nothing against the kid. Okay, nothing against him. All right,
I'm with you 100%. Thank you.
He's an exceptional talent, but I just
we don't even know that. We don't even know that.
He has talent. I'll give you that. He does. I just don't get the obsession with him. I really don't. Okay, if guys are thinking, if fans are thinking that he's another coming of Lamar Jackson, okay,
he's not Josh Allen. He's not. He's just simply not.
No chance. He's not even in the same planet as Jackson. Not even in the same planet, man.
I just don't get the obsession with this kid. I really, really don't. You guys have got to watch the film. Stop watching the highlights. Watch the film of this kid. I get it. He can get coached up, sit behind a good elite quarterback 2 years, fine. But I'm telling you now, if you draft him and DJ sucks, they have no choice but to put that kid in. And if that kid is horrible, you are setting him back, and you're setting this franchise back. And now Joe Shane and Brian Daboll are connected to this kid for the next 3 years. And if he doesn't pan out, their jobs are gone. So I am not forcing, okay? I am not forcing a QB in this draft. Just not doing it.
Yo, Ash, let me tell you something. Malik Willis, he's not a pimple on Josh Allen's ass. You got that? We got to get this straight now, okay?
Well, let's be real though. Let's be real about Josh Allen.
No,
okay,
that's real, Adam. That is real.
Yeah. Okay, about a pimple, on his ass. I don't really want to talk about that, but that's okay.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
No, let me get to my point so I can explain. I'm not taking Malik Willis, but what I'm saying is we all say the same thing. Josh Allen came in with a 52% completion percentage. They said that he was caca, that no one's going to get anything out of this kid. And they changed his mechanics up in Buffalo, and now all of a sudden he would be number one. He would be the number one overall pick in the draft if you were to recalibrate that draft again. I'm not saying Malik Willis is not going to do that, but there's going to be a coaching staff that's going to bang the table that says, I can get the best out of this guy. Now, is it the Giants? I don't think so, but we'll see. I mean, My point is this: I don't hate on Malik Willis. I'm not really. I could care less. If the Giants deem that Malik Willis is the future, then I have to believe that they see something that I don't. I see a lot of talent, like Rodney says. I see immense talent. Arm talent is undeniable. The thing that
Not Josh Allen talent. Josh Allen came in with elite quarterback size, the best arm in the NFL, and he could get past the first read.
Oh no! I know that. What I'm saying is we harp on the basics. This is what a coach is supposed to do. This is why this ain't Madden. This is real life. Because if I'm sitting there taking Malik Willis and I'm the guy on Madden, I got to put his attributes up and all that shit. It's a lot harder than a coach who's supposed to be. This is his profession. So he's supposed to take this mound of clay and mold him into a franchise guy. Will that be here with the Giants? I don't think so. But my point is, let's let the hype train play out. Because did anyone think Trey Lance was going to do great? No. But all of a sudden, here he is. He's the number 3 pick. He didn't even play last year. Played one game. Malik Willis was good in 2020. In 2021, he fell off a little bit. Same thing with Sam Howell. Sam Howell, last year, I heard Sam Howell was going to be the number 1 overall pick this year. And then he has the season that he has now. So we just need to let them get into an NFL program. And it's also, this is the key factor here, fellas, the right NFL program, right? If he goes to the Cleveland Browns or the Arizona Cardinals, you might be Josh Rosen. He might be kicked to the curb before you even take a snap. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not trying to fight for Malik Willis. I don't want anyone to think that I want him as a Giant, because I don't. But if you get a guy I like Desmond Ridder, that's the guy I want in the 2nd or 3rd round, or even Carson Strong to develop. You know what I mean? Because then if you go next year, let's say Daniel Jones stinks, you at least have a guy in your system that you can at least throw out there and roll out there while the young guy is learning or even competing with. So that's how I look at it.
But why are we?
I got a quick question for everybody. Yeah, I don't like that, but I got a quick question. If Dak Prescott, this isn't sarcastic, if Dak Prescott was in this draft, would he be the number 1 quarterback in his class?
Are you talking about Dak Prescott
as a prospect?
Out?
As a prospect, would he be the number 1 quarterback?
Probably not, because he had DUI. But if he didn't have DUI, yes, he probably would be.
I mean, shall I say anything more?
I'm not sure. I don't know about number 1.
I mean, that's like saying Daniel Jones will be the top prospect in this class, and that's not saying much either.
He would be. Daniel Jones and Matt Corral would be the 2. If Daniel Jones got this year, he'd be 1A and 1B with Matt Corral.
I like Matt Corral. I really like him. I like his skill set. But he's not prototypical. He's 205 pounds. He's 6'2". But we're all looking for the next big guy. That's why we draft players, man. This is why we do this, right? I love when Todd McShay or Mel Kiper's wrong. You know what I mean? So who knows? If he comes in and is a bust, then we're all right. If he comes in, and I think for me, the way you develop Malik Willis is you give him packages, right? You give him here's 5 plays. You run like what they did, like you said, GOS with Jalen Hurts. You bring him in small spots of 3rd and 2. You want to run the RPO there. 3rd and 5 at the goal line, run some routes. That's how I would get his feet wet.
Well, I'll put it to you like this: if any other team wants to go and get him, fine by me. Let's hype them up so we can get a good trade back. But Giants-wise, I do not want them reaching for a quarterback because, again, if Daniel Jones sucks, they're going to be forced to put that kid in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They're going to be forced to put him in. No doubt about it. Mara is not going to sit handily by and, watch another season go down the drain when possibly, quote unquote, you have a quarterback like Malik Willis that could probably do better. And if he comes in and he is horrible too, well, guess what? Joe Shane and Brian Dabble are connected now to this kid.
Well, and I don't even want to be connected to Daniel Jones. So I mean,
we got no choice at this point.
We are rocking a hard place. That's what we are right now.
Exactly. But I don't want to reach for a quarterback when I agree with you. No more pressing needs. There is no reason to do it.
Yes. Have we given Jones an actual real shot and a real evaluation? Or is this, do you still don't want him because you never want to begin with? I mean, what is this deal with some fans that think like
I'll be honest with you. I wanted him coming out. I wasn't as disappointed when he was drafted as most. I did most of my deep dive homework on Daniel Jones because of all those quarterbacks. I wanted to see what the narrative was. And the basis behind that was everyone was saying he could go in the first round or the fifth round. And I'm like, how come y'all don't have a consensus of where this kid is going? So when I did my evaluation, I'm like, yo, he can throw the ball, he can run. They're like, oh, he can't throw deep. Meanwhile, he's throwing a 40-yard bomb to a guy who drops the ball. Like, how are you telling him he can't throw the ball deep? Okay, so my point was, yes, I think he was built for Pat Shermer. That's the problem, is that we didn't get a long enough sample size with Pat Shermer as the QB coach and the head coach. So then
what if
Dable
builds
into
what if
him,
Dable comes out? Well, hold on now. What if Dable comes out and creates a similar system around Daniel Jones, like we saw his rookie year? Like, you're still done? I just don't see where. I just don't see how we've given this kid a fair evaluation. Like,
look, GOS, I'll say this: I like the kid. I still like the kid, but he has to prove to me that he is the guy. Meaning,
how could he?
He can't
Who
just be
stayed?
pedestrian.
Hold on. Who stayed healthy? Name me a healthy receiver he's had.
This is what I'm talking about to you.
No. Well, you're going to call it an excuse, and I hate this when people say excuse. Well, if it's actually reality, is it actually an excuse?
Well, listen, when he
represents reality.
Let's look at the games that he did. So 2019 was his best season, right? They had less of a receiving core in that year, and they was dropping dimes everywhere, right? We had a washed up Golden Tate scoring touchdowns. Okay, he comes in here with Kenny Golladay, and we can't throw the ball deep. Now, granted, we had a bad offensive line, but there are certain things that I saw in games that he could have done when their line was blocking. I think the problem is when you go back and you rewatch games and you see the line actually doing their job on certain plays, he has trouble.
I watched every snap, all 22. Adam, I watched no, hold on, Adam. I watched every snap, all 22 of Daniel Jones' career. People talk about he's staring down receiver, he's a progression. What's your progression when everybody runs a curl route? Do you got a 1, 2, 3 on curl? No, it's all pre-snap. He's staring at a safety. They created this bullshit system for it. It didn't fit him. It was a garbage system. It's gone. We need to start a clean slate. And hold on, Adam. We used a number 6 pick. We have to, before we ship him out the door. What does it matter? He's here. I hate that shit. I hate when people go that. He's here. We drafted him. That's the investment we have in him. Before we ship him out, we have to see what he. No, I'm not mad. I get upset because it's ridiculous the way people treat this kid. Like, we've literally given up. Go through his weapons. Sterling Shepard. How's he been for Daniel Jones? Staying real. He's there, right? Consistent target. Go
Trash,
through it. How's Slayton?
You're right. You're absolutely right. But
how many times Slayton drop? Keep going. Saquon Barkley. He was going to be the thing that really helps Daniel Jones, right? How's Saquon Barkley been for Daniel Jones? A real security blanket, right? How was Rudolph for Jones this year? Go through the list, dude. It's pathetic. And everybody pours on this kid. It's disrespectful. And then I can't stand it. I'm done with this excuses shit. If something represents reality, it's not an excuse. It's reality.
The thing that I will look at is when the pocket breaks down, that is what I'm looking at. When the shit hits the fan, he needs to be able to move and slightly move to the right or left or step up. The thing that I'm seeing him do is he stands back there. There was one play I was watching Bobby Skinner do the O-line review on Talking Giants, and they're talking about some guy. I forget what lineman it was, but I watched Daniel Jones instead of the lineman because I wanted to see what was happening. And the guard is coming into Daniel Jones's face, and all he has to do is move to his right, and he has a clear throw. What does he do? He throws it around the guard and the oncoming defender. So my point is, I just need to see a little bit more of him being able to move around to make the plays needed as a quarterback.
The offense was so bad that if he missed one throw in a 3-game period, that one play got highlighted on Twitter over and over and over and over. One play. I go watch all 22 films of Josh Allen, all these guys. They miss 2 or 3 receivers a day. It's a product of a horrible offense. Any bad play sticks out like a sore thumb. It contributes to losing. It's a poor system we've had. The situation's horrible. And then you pile on this kid on top of it. It's just, I want him to leave. I want him to be gone. I want him to be gone from Giants fans. Go to Pittsburgh where he has an offensive line where he can flourish. Because this is pathetic the way Giants fans
I want him to do well. I want him to do well. I'm not telling you I don't want him to do well. I'm just explaining to you what I saw. Now you saw this. I'm telling you what I saw in certain games that alarmed me. Like, listen, I like the kid coming out, but there are certain things that happen that make me worried that even if we have an offensive line, he may still struggle. But hey, if we give him an offensive line and he blows up, then I'll eat crow. I'll
Then
eat
that's
crow.
it. Then that's
I'll
it.
find
If
right.
the
That's
Giants
all.
were actually a real organization, we would have had this answer 2 years ago. If they actually ran
Right.
themselves like a real organization.
Right. And
Yeah,
listen,
I mean,
man, you know,
but so many fans take it out on Daniel Jones when this is a
No.
giant organization problem.
right. They didn't do him well, granted, right?
They didn't
but
do
there are certain
anybody
things,
well.
there are certain things that I see still within his play that allow me to be like, okay, like his first year, there are certain things I'm like, man, this kid's gonna be it. He had the best deep ball I've seen. You know, at
Can I
one
tell you
point I was
something?
sitting in the stands and I said to a friend of mine, I said, this guy is the best quarterback on the field right now. So I see talent. I just want to make sure that
I could
you
make a
know,
tape tomorrow of Josh Allen. He's one of the dumbest quarterbacks in the NFL. He makes 3-4 throws that are awful every game. And that
So
goes
does
for a lot of
Mahomes.
quarterbacks. Yeah, so does Mahomes. They all do it.
They all do.
Because they're risk takers. I mean,
But
Well, let
right,
me
but
ask you
my
this
point
question.
is, it
Go
sticks
ahead.
out so much more when your offense is bad. It's just
Right. And not to mention his reputation. They hated him coming up, but that's more of a Dave Gettleman thing than anything else. They hated Dave Gettleman. So if so facto, Daniel Jones is the boy. Listen, I told you I support the kid. I just want more from him. I can't have a pedestrian 3,000 yards and like 20 touchdowns. You know, I need, especially in a passing league. Give me at
well, we
least
need some
3,800.
receivers to stay on the field, Adam. We need some offensive linemen to fucking block. I mean, come on.
Listen, yeah, I'm not taking that away from you, but there's other teams I've seen who have shaky lines that are making plays around it. My point is, and we're going to agree to disagree, but my point is, I just need to see a little bit more from him that he's evolved in terms of passing when we get that line for him. If he's still doing the same things and we have a line, well, guess what? He's going to see the unemployment line.
Well, let me ask you guys this question then. All right, this is for everybody. Can we all agree that the scheme that he was in his rookie year was a lot better than the scheme he was in the past 2 years? Can we agree on that?
Yeah, listen, Daniel Jones is a West Coast. He's a play action, heavy. That's how you need a good run. You want to hit him play action. You want him to look intermediate, deep part of the field. Just like Eli Manning. When Ben McAdoo came along, the West Coast stuff did not fit Eli. Like, Daniel Jones has to play a certain way. You have to have a certain kind of offense around him. Like,
And we can all agree. You're right. And we can all agree that based off of the fact that he didn't have a decent offensive line, pretty much a lot of his supporting cast was hurt. And 3, Jason Garrett's system was just straight ass. That in all reality, if you expected this kid to really succeed, that was a long shot based off of all those 3 things combined: injuries, scheme, no offensive line. And I get it. A lot of guys want to sit there and say, well, Joe Burrow, this is not a slight to you, Matt. Joe Burrow, yeah, he didn't have a line either. But look at the scheme. Exactly. The line was way better than what we have. So whenever guys, again, it's not a slight to you, Mac, or anybody else in the chat or who's listening, you cannot sit here and say that Daniel Jones had a good, he had a good system around him, and you're gonna base that off of everybody else who didn't have a good system but succeeded. You have to take a lot of things into play. A lot of his weapons weren't, they were always hurt in some aspect or the other. I think it was 3-4 games where he had pretty much everybody this whole season. 3 or 4 games that he had was it Galladay, Sterling Shepard, Kadarius Toney, and Saquon. I think it was 3 or 4 games.
Did you know after the Saints game, he was the second highest rated quarterback in NFL?
Exactly.
The first 4 games, 5 games, he's second highest rated. And then what happened in Dallas? The entire team went out.
Well, he's the best deep ball thrower in the NFL too, but they didn't want to throw deep shots.
My thing is,
it's all pre-snap garbage.
Deep shots. Got no time.
Exactly. So my thing is this.
That's true too.
I want to see what Mike Kafka and Brian Daboll can come up with as far as a scheme to get this kid to where he needs to be. Even if he doesn't stay with the New York Giants. It's a good chance that he won't. But give this kid a chance to show what he can do. That's all I'm asking. I want to be able to sit there and say, you know what, he gave it his best, but he's
Well, I
pretty
hope-
much, he's
I
not
hope that
a
happens.
NFL, he's not an elite quarterback. All right,
Well,
he's maybe a backup quarterback.
I just hope that he can
Give the
stay
kid a
healthy.
chance.
That's my other concern is healthiness. Because if they decide to run some RPOs, and this guy tries to not slide or something like that, and he gets hit by somebody and is out, that's what I'm worried about. Because then
He's
we're
done,
back
Adam. He's done. He's got 1 year left. If he gets hurt again, he's gonna be gone.
So
Exactly.
GOS, we can agree that if he gets injured or performs that he's not here, right? But you guys are of the belief that if we give him a line and he still chokes or still shits the bed, that it's okay to move on. We just want to fair.
He's got 1 year. Listen, I'm not a stan. I don't go on Twitter. I think a lot of people think I'm a stan or something. I literally don't know what's happening on Twitter. And from what Authentic tells me, there's a giant Daniel Jones for. I'm not involved in that. All I know is we have a number 6 pick that we've given no chance to. I try to evaluate the kid. It's almost impossible weekly with the amount of pressure he's under. Nobody's healthy. It's ridiculous. It's been 3 years now. It's obscene. And I just want to see what we got. I just want to see what we got.
This chance. Barkley and Jones have got this chance. What's up, guys?
Welcome, Jeff.
Jones
Jeff.
and Barkley have this one chance right
What's up,
now
Jeff?
to make it right. I'm doing well, guys. Good to talk with you. But they have this chance right now this year. We figure with a better offensive line, we hope these guys can stay healthy. This is their shot. Jones and Barkley most likely are done after this season as with the Giants, but this is their one shot to maybe get themselves some decent money in the offseason with another organization. So now we figure we're going to support them.
Or stay with us.
Or stay with us, but I still don't see it happening with both these guys.
If Daniel
staying
Jones does
long-term.
great, you franchise tag him and you force him to do it 2 years in a row. That's what you do.
Right. We're on the same wavelength. We just may
We should
not
pick
be.
up his fifth-year option instead.
No.
Nah,
Because
you can't.
there's been
I'm not
rumors
sure
they're
about
about
that.
picking up that fifth-year option. There
That's
have been
bad,
rumors he's picking up
Jeff.
that fifth-year option.
Jeff, that's bad business, Jeff. Because if the guy comes out, and we don't even know if he's healthy. He says he's healthy. What if he comes out in training camp, somebody hits him, and his neck flares up or something
No,
like that?
I'm not saying I do that. I'm not picking up his fifth-year option for a damn. I'm just saying that it's possible that Dable and Schoen like this guy enough and figure if they give him a chance this season with a better team, better all-around team around him, and he has a pretty good season, they might be wanting to pick up that fifth-year option and give him another year after that and see what happens. And if he fails,
I
you
don't
get rid of
think
him.
he's getting. I
wouldn't do it either. I would
I
make
don't
him
think you
prove
pick up the
himself
fifth
this
year
year.
option because the franchise tag is going to be what 24 million, 25 million, something like that, and he's going to get 21. But I agree with GOS.
No. Franchise tag's like 40 nowadays, buddy. It's
Yeah, franchise
way
tag's
out
a
there.
lot
Well,
more now.
isn't it the median salary of all the top salaries?
No, it's just outside the top 5, I think. So yeah, he'll be a top 5 paid quarterback, and he's franchise tagged.
All right. Well, I don't have the numbers, and you seem to know a little bit more. than
I
me.
think if you fifth year him, I think it's 23 million. If you have to franchise them, you're looking at around 40 to 40 or something like that.
Well, I'm still not doing either because regardless of how much money they have next year,
Well, if he comes out and throws 35 touchdowns, you're not going to franchise tag him and see if he can do it again. I mean,
No, that's what I'm talking about, the fifth-year option. I don't care about the franchise tag because I know that's in my back pocket. I'm just
What
not
if
giving you the
what if
fifth-year
Barkley
option.
has a big year this year? Are you going to try to trade him and his value's high? Or maybe
He's
you
getting
try, you
traded.
thought about are you going to try to franchise him? If Barkley
No,
has
he's
a
getting
big year?
traded.
No.
He has a
They're
big
gonna
year.
trade him.
But he's going to
Trade him.
walk after this
Trade
year.
him.
Well, you can't trade him. He's gonna
he
walk
might
after
not
this
make it
year.
to the draft, man. He might be gone by the draft.
There's a good
Well-
chance if the Giants start off to a bad start and Barkley's actually off to a good start, they might try to trade him mid-year.
Well,
Good
I
answer.
agree with that as well. But we'll see what happens. I mean, right now our fate is lied on the unknown, right? We don't know if Daniel Jones is going to finish the season. We don't know if his neck is healthy, and we don't know how he's going to perform even when we give him a line, right? Because like Sam Darnold a few years ago, someone told me it wasn't Sam Darnold, it was Adam Gase, and then he goes to Carolina and he stinks the bed over there too. So I'm hoping that we give him a line, Daniel Jones will rise to the top and do what he needs to do. My only concern with him is, and this is why I keep saying I want a backup quarterback, because I'm worried that he's going to do something dumb or pull a hamstring or be out a few weeks just because that's what he's done in the 3 years that I've seen him. He's been injured every season.
Who's the worst backup quarterback in the NFL?
Mike Glennon.
That's who I want. That's who I want. If Daniel Jones gets hurt for the year, we got our next quarterback. We got the first number one pick. Yeah. I want the worst backup.
Yeah.
Give me the worst backup.
I know, GOS, you don't like backups. I heard your one video. You don't really care about them, and I agree with you at that point. But I still want this. I don't want to watch Mike Glennon football. I want to. If we go out there and the backup quarterback makes plays and we're in games, because a lot of people believe this team is going to be in it to win it. I don't, but a lot of people say, "Oh, we have a weak schedule. Why not do this?" I'm like, the NFL, gets better.
You don't know anything. Yeah, that's the thing. You don't know what's going to happen in the offseason. What
Never
teams
know.
might get better, what teams get worse, and also injuries. What injuries are going to happen? You don't know.
I appreciate you guys having me on. You guys are more than welcome to always join my stream if I'm on. I love you guys. You guys do a great show, great opinions. GOS, I love the back and forth.
Yeah, got a little passion out of me.
Hey, listen, now I got to go back and do some homework so I can come up with some more excuses on Daniel Jones. I'm just kidding.
Oh, jeez.
But thanks a lot, guys. Rodney, Hit Squad, GOS, great show, man. Thanks a lot.
All right, there, Adam.
Peace.
What's the next topic you got there, Hit Squad?
Yeah, before I get into the next topic, actually, I just got off the phone with Zion. He wanted me to tell y'all what's good. He'll be joining into the chat in a little bit. For me, man, I mean, because I know we're going on almost 2 hours here. What I do want to talk about real quick is, I mean, is there a player that you're most excited for? I know that, we're going to be cutting a lot of players, but is there a player y'all are excited for the New York Giants going forward?
Aziz.
Kadarius.
I'm there with
this
you.
kid's got.
I'm there with you, Jeff. That's actually my pick right there. I'm not even going to hold you. What about you, Miz? What about you, Charlie?
I don't have a single player I'm excited about right now. I'll be honest. I'd like to be excited about whatever players are coming in the draft.
I like that. That's a good answer.
Honestly, if you got me Lloyd at that linebacker, man, I'm a little bit crazy about him. That would really get me. Because when's the last time we had a real deal intimidating linebacker here? I know Martinez, but
not since Pierce. Not since
John Beasley.
Pierce we've had that.
Yeah,
What's going on, man?
How's it going there, Joe?
The classified one.
What's up, Joe?
Man with no secrets.
I just wanted to say real quick because I didn't get a chance. Because Adam and Opinion, they talk a lot. Nah, I'm joking.
Nah, it's
fine. But just real quick, I've always said this. The Giants never put a line in front of Jones. Pretty much what Mara said. They failed the guy. And you want to know why the guy gets injured. Why don't you blame the coaching staff that was here? You want to keep running the guy into linebackers like he's some kind of – he's not Lamar Jackson, man, and they could take that RPO and throw it in the trash can. I'm pretty sure this new coaching staff will get rid of that shit. You weren't helping the guy doing that. I don't care if he had one nice 80-yard run against the Eagles. For the most part, you're putting him out there to take a beating. And you ain't have no running game to dictate the defense into any kind of into tricking them at all. So he took some shots, especially in that Dallas game. So
I mean, I'm gonna say this much, Miz. Not to cut you off or nothing. I actually got a video that should be dropping within the next 2 days. One of my boys is a huge Bills fan, and we were talking about how Brian Daboll likes running his offense, right? One of the things he mentioned off the rip was expect Daniel Jones to be running a lot because he loves the RPO. I'm not necessarily for it. I think DJ gets hurt a lot of the times, if not all the time, when he's outside of the pocket on his own accord. I wanted to get, in contact with a baseball player or a trainer to teach that boy how to slide. But I agree with you. I think y'all are making some good points in terms of Daniel Jones. I'm not the biggest Daniel Jones stan, but I mean, I can't say here confidently that he's been given a chance. There are some things he's got to work on, and there's some shit he does that pisses me off. But I'm not going to act like he's, the biggest problem here, especially when we don't have an offensive line.
Well, that's the thing I wanted. He could run. He don't have to run every play, but they could pick spots where he runs. But how about if we still have not put a real O-line in front of this kid? We still have not done that.
And not for Barkley either one of those guys.
I feel like he was used when Garrett was here, kind of out of necessity because we weren't winning a lot of them games without using Daniel Jones' legs. You know,
That's true.
look how quick you get fired here in New York. I really felt
You're
like
right.
the scheme wasn't working, and they used Daniel Jones because they absolutely had to.
Mhm.
Well, you got to look at it like this too, you know, and this goes the same way as far as the defense is concerned. They're going to look at this roster and they're going to see, you know, they're going to have to come to the conclusion of, okay, is what I ran either at the Chiefs with Mike Kafka or Brian with the Bills at with Brian Dabble. What we ran in those, you know, in those systems, can it be done in this roster? You have to look at it from that standpoint. Maybe there's some things that they're not going to be able to do with Daniel Jones that they were able to do with Josh Allen. Maybe there's some things that we won't be able to do with this defense that he was doing in Baltimore. They're going to have to take a broad look at this roster and come up with a lot of things to be able to play to these guys' strengths. DJ included, this defense, and however it's going to shape up. They're going to have to literally design something to where it benefits everybody. It may not look like Buffalo, but it might have some resemblance to Buffalo. It may not look like Baltimore, but it'll have some resemblance to it. All depends on how they view this roster and how they want to put it together.
Mhm.
Absolutely, man. Joe, give us your thoughts, man. What you feeling? I know you were in the chat showing love, giving your thoughts, man. How you feeling? Because I want to say this much before you go in. I mean, I think there's a lot of times where you be speaking facts, and I know your ass be getting killed for it. I ain't gonna kill you on this stream, so I'm gonna let you talk your piece.
I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna kill him. Okay, if he starts singing,
Oh, no, no,
okay, I'm gonna kill him.
no,
I love
don't
his
sing it. I'm
singing.
having a great night. Hit Squad, you guys, I've been sitting here listening, doing study, research for videos and stuff, listening to you guys mix it up. And Adam and Miz and Jeffrey, man, GOS, you and me got to do a videos one day on Daniel Jones because we're seeing eye to eye on that suspect.
Yes, we do, Joel. It's
Yeah,
overdue.
yes, it is, man. Rodney, great hit squad, man. It's been fun sitting here listening to you guys chop it up, and the points you guys are coming across with are just pure fire. Pure fire. And
Thank
what do you want me to talk about first? Because tomorrow Pat's got a video dropping about Wink Martindale. I want you to make sure everybody goes and checks that out. You're going to understand his defense. And you're going to
I'ma be there.
understand why I've been talking the way I've been talking. Okay, I'm not giving more than that out, but Pat's got a video dropping tomorrow. We're probably going to be premiering. Me and him will be in the chat. Make sure you guys, you're going to really enjoy this and understand why I'm trying to keep an open mind when I say, what if we took a safety? What if we took a corner? We definitely need an inside linebacker. We have young edge rushers that are talented. You know, we got Roche, I think, is going to do very well in this Martindale system. Dexter Lawrence, can he do what that Ravens defense did? You know, look at who's really there. There's Calais Campbell on the inside and Judon on the outside. Who else do they really have on that front three?
And Judon was never a fit, Joel. He never was a wink guy. He was kind of like pushed in
Well, they
a role.
had Brandon Williams a lot in the middle too.
Yeah, but you know what? He helped Calais Campbell get that rest, that breather. He could come in and spell him so that those guys were always fresh. So let's look at this defense because, guys, I'm completely happy that Graham's gone, and I'm not going to lie. I know a lot of people wanted him, but we gave up 70-plus points in the final 2 minutes of the second quarter throughout the whole season. We were constantly playing bend, don't break. We never really saw any exotic defenses. What are the Giants known for? Exotic defenses. When you got Reasons coming in, you got Peppers sitting there on inside, LT, Banks, you know, all those great linebacker schemes. You had Marshall in the front, Jim Burt. Those guys were moving the center of the pocket. In Belichick's defense was just mixing things up, confusing the hell out of everybody. That's what you're going to get back with Malik Martindale now. Look at the guys he's bringing in to coach these guys up. I just dropped it into the chat, the breaking news. We got another guy that was with Martindale for 4 years is the outside linebackers coach.
Yeah.
But now, does anybody really know what Ryan's coaching duties are going to be? Because me and Pat could not find anything on that.
I think he's an assistant coach right now. I don't
maybe
think
I
he
heard
is.
inside linebacker. That's what I
And
heard.
then Cox might be the defensive line coach, I think.
I
Right.
heard Cox was outside linebackers and Ryan was inside. That's what I heard, but I don't know how true it is.
Cox has not coached in a while, though, guys.
No, he hasn't.
He's been out of the league, so a lot of people don't know that.
Mhm.
You know,
And didn't he have a
then
bad stint at his last coaching job? I heard.
something like that? I don't.
Yeah, he had like a little
remember.
bad fallout or something.
He had some turmoil, but let's remember when you're talking about Daniel Jones and everything. When you guys were saying a bad fit and he can't make a play, how many wide receivers were open really when he was trying to make a play? They were all
Nobody
covered.
really. Yeah.
Slayton, but he can't catch.
Well, no, I will say this though. When you have
What?
a Jason Garrett play,
Where's he supposed to the ball?
well, when you have a Jason Garrett play where you got 3 guys running curl routes in the middle of the field in the same vicinity of one another, there's really not much you're going to be able to do, especially with the
Right.
offensive line.
There's no
that isn't
progression. Of course.
blocking.
Yo, guys, I need to cut you off.
Progression.
I gotta bounce out, but I'll be back in a little bit. All right.
Miz,
Yes, sir.
All right,
Oh,
man.
goodness.
Yo, Miz, congratulations too.
Yeah, congratulations
All
on
right,
your
man.
CDL.
Man. Congrats,
Hey,
man.
Dude,
Congrats.
man. That's
Your
huge.
steering
That was
wheel
a-
holder.
That was a long ride to PA, Joe. 5 hours
Yeah.
of driving.
Oh,
I live
man,
in
that's
PA.
nothing. That's nothing. You wait till you
Wow.
get 10, 11 hours behind
Joel,
that
you're in
wheel, my
PA?
guy. No, I'm in Western
Wow.
New York, but I'm
He's in
about an
Western
hour
New
and a
York.
half from the border.
I live out in
I
Scranton,
had to go there.
Pennsylvania.
Oh,
You're in
I
Pennsylvania?
live I live in Finger Lakes, New York.
Okay. Yeah.
Just-
I got family up there.
Yeah, I live really close by the 17-390 split. Well, they call it 86 now, but
Yep.
Where the
Yeah, the
Buffalo
new name.
roam.
I got family all up there, all through Malone, all up to the border.
okay.
Yeah.
I'll be watching on the phone, but I'll be back on here in about 20, 30 minutes.
Do your
Okay.
thing, bro. Appreciate you coming through.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
it's-
why I jumped on. I saw you guys had an open space, but yeah, you guys, man, what points? What great topics, great discussions, man. You guys are killing it. Killing it.
Thank
All right.
you.
What's the
I'll say
catch?
about
What's Joel trying to sell right now? What's the
Nothing,
catch
man.
What is he?
Nothing.
No, I told you what he's trying
He's
to
getting
sell.
ready for a song. I feel a
Yeah,
song.
exactly. Good one,
I
Jeff.
feel a
Exactly
song
what he's
coming.
selling right now. He's ready. He's getting ready to do a song. Let's hear it.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Oh,
Come on, you guys
yeah.
didn't like my rhyme for Lou last night at all? You know?
Oh, yeah, I
It
heard
wasn't
that.
bad. It was pretty
I
good.
It was
heard
pretty
that.
clever. It was good.
Oh,
I do want to say this much. 2 things actually. Like I said, I'm working on a video with a friend of mine that's a Bills fan.
right.
Outside of the RPO that he stressed to me, one thing that he mentioned for us to look out for, and I think this is going to be very interesting, and I wouldn't be shocked if some Giants fans kind of flip out week by week. The way I guess Brian Dable likes to run his offense in terms of targeting his receivers is he looks at the defense that he's playing. He looks at the matchups and he says, okay, this receiver will thrive in this going against this defense. This receiver will thrive going against this defense.
Yes.
I guess he did that with Sanders a lot last year. He did that with Stephon Diggs. So, he had mentioned to me, he said, don't be shocked if 1 week, Galladay doesn't get, too many targets, but, he has a lot of receiving yards. Or same thing with Kadarius Toney. That's just how he likes to run his offense. He also has expressed to me as well that sometimes at a tendency, just to break tendency, he'll try to run the ball when it's not necessarily needed. He had referenced a game to me against Jacksonville where instead of, I think it was he said on 2nd down, instead of passing the ball, because he felt that the defense knew that they were going to pass the ball, they ran on 2nd and 10 and it was completely stuffed. Damn near
Right.
almost caused a concussion. So that's something to kind of look at, going forward with this offense, man. So, I just want to say that. And then in terms of Wink, man, I think one player that I'm not saying they're the same, but I think that Wink could get a lot of them is Aziz. You look at what he did with Odafe Owe. I'm probably butchering his name. He was the number 31st overall pick in last year's draft out of, I believe it was Penn State.
Yeah,
I mean,
the
dude had
former
five.
Jason Away.
Yeah. Oh, I guess he changed his name. I guess I thought it was Odafe. But I mean, dude balled out. I mean, you want to talk about young? I mean, he's only 23.
He's a freak.
So,
He's a freak athlete. I remember
Right.
watching him here.
I
Yes,
mean,
he
and
is.
that gets me pumped for
Look what he
old
did for
Jabari.
Tyus Bowser too. Tyus Bowser was a beast at the edge as
Well-
well, and he's done it
well-
with quite a few pass rushers.
Look at it this way, though, guys. Let's not forget we got an OC from Kansas City.
Mhm.
So he likes to run his receivers a little bit different than Dabble did in Buffalo. Now, if you go on a compare, that's why when I say going into this draft, if you're doing a mock draft, look at 2 tight ends because Buffalo is really important on the tight end, and so aren't the Chiefs. You look what Kelsey does for that team. You know, Ferguson, I think his name is up there in Buffalo, the tight end. You look at what he does. So they operate with the tight ends a lot. They love to scheme Tyreek Hill on the swings, the jet sweeps, the in the flat, wide receiver screens. You're going to see a little bit of some of the same stuff, but then all of a sudden, both Josh Allen and Mahomes will take that deep shot because the defense is set up in a single high safety look. Or they roll out of a 2 high or 3 high into a single safety. And then they get the man on man. And that's when Stephon Diggs makes a play. Or that's when Kelsey can bust it down the middle of the seam. I think we're going to start seeing more of our tight ends being used down the middle instead of half the field with Jason Garrett.
And
I'm
don't
there
even be
with you.
surprised if they sometimes do that with Saquon Barkley too, because a lot of times in Jones' rookie year, they did send Saquon Barkley down the middle over on the sidelines for those deep plays or deep passes. So if he's able to, you can see the running back also going after some of those wheel routes or deep passes down the middle, trying to hit him there.
Yeah, because then Daniel's got an out. How many times was Barkley out there where he could just dump it off to Barkley? You know, we saw Glennon try to do that, and he threw the freaking ball 100 miles an hour and got Barkley killed a couple of times.
Yeah.
That's true, too. That's absolutely true.
No, but I think, what it's gonna take as far as, this system, whether it be defense or offense, again, is like I said, how they view this roster and what they're going to be able to bring, as far as from what they were doing in Buffalo, what they were doing in Kansas City, and what they were doing in Baltimore. How can they apply it to this roster? As of right now, we don't know the makeup because the draft hasn't happened and we don't know what they're going to do as far as free agency. But I'm anticipating, utilizing, they're going to bring in whatever they did in Buffalo, Kansas City, and Baltimore. They're going to bring it in.
Yes.
But is it going to be 100% of the same thing, or is it going to be 50% of it and then draw up, certain things that benefit the strengths of every person on this roster, whether it be offense or defense? They have to be able to do that. They're not just going to completely throw Buffalo's playbook, offense playbook at Daniel Jones in this offense and think it's going to, work, because we, they have Josh Allen, we have Daniel Jones, 2 totally different quarterbacks, 2 totally different styles. As far as Wink Martindale is concerned, Baltimore, he's had Patrick Queen, Owe, Bowers, and all those guys there. Who do we have right here? We have Leonard Williams, we have Aziz, we got McKinney, but we don't have a stud linebacker unless Martinez, so all that's got to come into play where this team is concerned. We just don't know what the makeup as far as what schemes they're going to run. And just to piggyback off of what you said there, Joe, I like Patrick Graham. I think that he did the best that he could with what he had. But
I think so too. Yeah.
I agree.
For me, I'm going to agree. I'm going to be in agreement with you as well. I want to be able to see these guys get after the quarterback.
Yes.
And Wink likes to blitz, and he runs those cover zero. So we're going to have some really good cornerbacks back there to be able to be out there on the island playing that man coverage. If he's going to want to do that same thing that he was doing at Baltimore. And we definitely going to have a stud linebacker. So,
God, I wish that video dropped today. You guys got to watch this. I'm telling you.
I'm pumped, man. I'm so pumped.
Yeah. I mean,
You
the guy I'm curious about the most on the offensive side is a guy like Kenny Galladay, because both the Chiefs and the Bills really never had a receiver like Galladay in their systems. Never like those 6'4", big time, not really big on separation, jump ball type receivers. They were a lot more, quick routes, a lot more screen passes, deep ball guys. So I'm curious to see if Galladay is still 100% on this team. Like, how are they going to use Kenny Galladay to his strengths? Are they going to try to throw him sometimes on some quick slants where he can use his body to get open? Are they going to try to use him on some sideline patterns or some jump balls down over like deep, even the jump balls towards the end zone? So he's the guy on offense. I'm really curious on how Kafka and Dabble are going to try to use him, because we really don't know, because they've never had a receiver like that they've really used in any of their systems.
Exactly.
You got to use that back shoulder. Remember, are you guys, Joel's old enough to remember what we used to do in Plaxico?
Oh, yeah.
You got to use that back shoulder.
Yeah, Nick.
If it's done right, you run an option route off of it. If it's done right, it's indefensible. If you got a quarterback that can make that throw, and I've seen Daniel Jones make that throw when people jump off sides. I watch him throw it to Slayton all the time. So I don't know why we weren't running that last year. And for the Buffalo, Garrett never sent anybody deep. Not to throw deep, but to open up the middle. Listen, so many teams sit in cover 2 nowadays. Just send your outside guy up in a deep post. You force safeties to make decisions. Either you're coming down on somebody or up somebody. It's the easiest one read. It's 1-2. Daniel Jones can do that. I've seen him do it before. Just get deeper route concepts in here. Them curl route stuff, that pre-snap stuff was not working. It does not work. Run a real offense.
Why not last year when you had speed guys like Darius Slayton, John Ross, and Kadarius Toney, just send them all deep, or try to get them open on deep patterns, let them use their speed to get open on one-on-ones. They never really tried that much at all last year. Even when the offensive line did actually stand up and protect Jones.
You get so much clear out stuff. You get free plays out of that all the time. Just it clears out. So you just send somebody underneath or run it back up. It's free yards.
Well, another thing you guys aren't talking about is how much that they would show zone coverage halfway through the route, but the receivers would not sit down inside that zone where the holes are.
That is true too. None of the receivers on our team really.
They wouldn't read the defense. It was blowing my mind breaking down some of this film from last year.
We had a stretch with Manning when his receiver was doing it too, and Randall was here. They were doing the same. It was so bad at one point. That one bad year Eli had, so many of them picks were on receivers just being dumb.
Yes.
Yeah, well, every time he targeted Ruben Randall, he did something stupid, and that's how all his picks happened that one year.
Come on, Randall was the best pick ever. Come on, guys.
Yeah. Hall of Famer.
Yep.
Well, you guys, I'm going to have to head off, but Hit Squad, Joel, Jeff,
Rodney.
Chris, GOS, thank you guys for having me on here. I appreciate
always good to
it.
talk with you.
Thank
man.
you very much. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Have a good one. Appreciate you.
No problem at all. And just to let you guys know, I'm working on my equipment and stuff. So at some point, I'm going to just start putting out those videos. So just keep watch.
You just got to start doing them. You just got to start doing them. Even if your equipment ain't right, just put them out there. You're going to be horrible at first. Takes time.
Need any help, Roddy? I'm a phone call away, my guy.
No problem. No problem. No problem. I appreciate you guys, man. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah,
Have a good rest of your night, Rodney.
All right.
Now I see we've been going for like 2.5 hours, so I'm gonna cut it here because I'm sure we got other people streaming in a little bit as well, and I definitely want to tune into that. But listen, y'all, I appreciate everyone that came through for episode 2. It really meant a lot. Miz, Mac, Diggy, Ash, Buko, Joel. I mean, I can name, man. I'll be here for a little bit naming everyone. It was so much fun, man.
Super Taj, GOS.
Oh, thank you for having me on, guys. I appreciate coming into this stream.
Frank
Sinatra, and Joel, do you have a Twitter?
Yes, sir. Classified 3F.
All right, I'll try and find you. It'll be like a horrible Charlie 00800. I'll find you and I'll send you a message. I don't know how to do that shit, man. I'm horrible.
I don't either, man. The only reason I'm on it is so I can share. And the only thing I don't even twit. It's like somebody shooting a video. I'll put it out there. I know how to do that. But as far as this other stuff, and now they want me to learn Instagram, get out of here.
Yeah,
I can't believe you just called a tweet a twit.
It is.
I can't believe this. But
it's also called a meme. All right. I took English in freaking 1980s. All right.
This is the part of the show where I'm the youngest in the panel. So this is where we're going to end it off here, man. Again, I appreciate everyone coming through. We're going to end it with the intro. and y'all be safe, man.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace.